All right, guys. Man, I've been waiting for this one for a few months. Ever since I saw it come out back in June at the SIG Next event. You already saw the title. You know what it is. I'm not going to lie. My expectations are extremely high on this pistol. So I cannot wait to get into it. So let's go. We're looking at the SIG new P320 X5 SXG. We're going to do the unboxing part. You guys already know. Get into full details. And then we'll take it to the range. And hopefully it does not disappoint me. So right out of the gate in the box, you got, of course, you got your manual, your, you know, all your little sales advertisements and stuff like that. Sign up for the NRA. You got your SIG sticker there. I've already opened it, looked at it. I have not shot it. Of course, you get the pistol. Let's move this out the way for a second. Your chamber flag that was in there. You get 3 21 round mags. Looks like these are the standard P320 21 round mags. So glad they shipped 3 of them ready to go for competition and some small matches when you don't need a ton of magazines or anything like that. These are just some free range passes when I do my transfers from Spring Guns and Ammo. Shout out to them here in Spring, Texas. You get a couple extra springs, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then, of course, your standard lock. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way. All right, so now with the magic of editing, got everything out of the way. So let's get into this brand new SIG P320 X5 SXG, the all steel P320. I'm super excited to get this, and I can't wait to shoot it. Man, so let's just go with first impressions. The weight, the big thing, it's almost 50 ounces, I believe they said. It feels super well balanced. Like, I'm not holding it here and it's not wanting to topple over on itself. Now, of course, if I dip it a lot, I'm sure it will. But you see there, I'm balancing it on one finger, this one barely. So it's really well balanced and it feels balanced. My Q5, I'm not gonna lie, my Q5 probably felt a little heavier than this, and that one was a compact grip. So man, this is really well placed weight, the way they did this here. I love the window cuts on the slide. Man, it's just a beautiful gun. Feels fantastic, which we'll get into more details and everything. I'm just giving my first impressions that this is a really awesome looking pistol. I cannot wait to shoot this, and hopefully it shoots as good as I hope it does, and try it out in competition. But those are my first impressions, that it feels great. I love the flat trigger. The weight of it is really well balanced. So let me go ahead and get this off, get this little tag out of here as well. All right, so I like the way we do. We're gonna start from top to bottom. Let's talk about this beautiful slide, the stainless steel slide. It kind of looks like it has that Triceratops cut here in the front, probably for easier holstering here when they have this cut that kind of comes in. It's not as far back as some other pistols. It's like a little mini Triceratops cut right here, as you can see it. So I'm assuming that's what that is. You have your window cuts at the top of the slide, release some of that weight at the top to prevent some of that kickback, or that muzzle rise rather, instead. It's got your X5 etched in there, laser cut in there. Nothing on this side. The serrations are not too deep, but just enough. Really light slide. We'll talk about that in a minute. Really light. Recoil spring that is in here, so it's just gliding like butter, like no issues whatsoever. So the serrations are not that deep at all. I wish they were a little bit deeper, maybe even a little crazier than the standard little cuts up front. But again, it serves its purpose, no problems whatsoever. This is optic ready. This is the Delta Point Pro footprint. So we'll just take this, probably looks like we just knocked this pin out and then pull this optic plate off of here, and we want to mount anything with the Delta Point Pro, which I do have that new Max 3 Pro optic coming in as well. They also released that with this pistol at their next event back in June. So hopefully that'll be here in the next few days, and then I can do a review of that as well. But you do get a fiber optic front. Let me see if we can get that to focus. It's kind of hard to focus, but fiber optic front with the black serrated rear, and it is adjustable rear sights for those that want to keep the iron sights on there. I kind of wish, I've seen some fiber optics that are a little bit bigger and brighter than this one here. This one's kind of small, and you can see there it finally focused to the front. So I do wish it was a little slightly bigger, because I know other pistols do come with slightly bigger fiber optics. So I do wish that, but man, really nice slide. that stainless steel is just gives it a really nice look to it, at least for me and my preference. I think that's kind of why I like my Canik, because it was more chrome than that brushed steel look. But not too much on the slide. Let's go ahead and get into dimensions. This is a 5-inch bull barrel, so hopefully this baby shoots like most nice bull barrels and full-size 5-inch bull barrels do. Usually you'll find those on the 1911s and 2011s, 2311s and all that good stuff. So that is a 5-inch bull barrel. The overall length is 8.5 inches on this guy. The height is 5.8 inches. So definitely full size. Obviously I have a semi larger hand and you can already see that grip making the texture in my fingers, so it really sticks to you. It's not aggressive where it hurts, but we'll see what happens when you run a bunch of rounds through it in competition. But yeah, so 5.8 inches on the height. Overall width only 1.6. Tiny Tactical was holding this a little while ago. She was checking it out and she was able to get her hand around it as well. So it's a nice thin frame. I know she tried like some of the Prodigies and stuff like that, and she didn't like them because, and I know those grip styles are different, but it was just, they're just too thick in the back, and she can't get her hand around it. But nice thin profile, 1.6. The weight is 49.8 ounces with the mag is what their website says. So just under 50 ounces. But I'm telling you, it is really balanced well. I can balance it in my hand without it toppling over, and I'm shaking it and it's not instantly just falling back. So they did a really good job. I don't feel like it's top heavy or even bottom heavy or anything like that. It just feels really, really balanced. I like that a lot. That's a nice pistol. So those are our dimensions. We talked about our slide. So the springs, when you talk about the barrel, it comes with 3 springs. It comes with a 12-pound recoil spring pre-installed. That's why the slide is so easy to rack. You can tell it's super light, and it's almost like it doesn't go back in the battery. If you guys shoot competition and it worked with light recoil springs, you just almost always get that play there in the back of your slide. It doesn't return all the way sometimes. So that's just something that you're going to deal with. But it does come with 14 and 16 pound springs, so you could always go a little heavier. They're not marked, but obviously the longer springs are usually the heavier spring. So this is probably our 16-pound spring here, and these are 1911 style springs, and then here's our 14-pounder, I'm sure, since it's shorter. So there's going to be less pressure on that one. But so that's kind of cool that you can kind of tune it to your ammo a little bit, so to speak. It also help with any malfunctions you might be having. You may need to test all your recoil springs and see what works best. So right now it comes pre-installed with a 12-pound spring. All right, so let's go down to our frame. Again, stainless steel frame. Looks like they have the 1-slot Picatinny rail down here, so they wanted to keep more of that mass on there to keep this shooting flat and that muzzle rise as low as possible. So they went with the 1-slot on here. You have the Lok Grips, G10 grips. They're really aggressive to the touch. You can feel them catching onto your skin, but not to where it hurts. I mean, I'm rubbing on here and I can feel it scratching, but it's not gonna be a pain in the ass. But that thing just really sticks to you, and it's got, of course, on both sides, the back as well. That feels really good in the palm. And then they have this front pyramid checkering here in the front of the grip. No checkering in the front of the trigger guard. They do have a slight bevel cut up here, groove to get your fingers just slightly underneath that as well, help with that recoil. Beaver tail, it's a little short beaver tail, but I like how they rounded off this back and this sides. I've seen some where they're kind of sharpened and they kind of hurt a little bit, but this one does have rounded edges there, so that if Max Michelle, whoever put their input on this, that was one thing their competition team thought about, because I've seen some other people with some other pistols and they say they Dremel the crap out of these edges because it bites into their palm back here or their hand. This one feels nice and smooth. They did a good job with that as well. But again, Lok G10 grips feel great. Let's go ahead and talk about our controls. So of course you got your standard slide catch, slide release there. Just sticks out just a little bit. This is a standard one. Nothing too special about that. You have your takedown lever up here. Kind of wish they would have had one more that kind of sticks out a little bit more. So that way it would serve almost like a thumb rest a little bit, or even a built-in thumb rest would have been awesome, since they're pushing this to be a competition big boy. The mag release, I always like the mag releases when they have a little bit of texturing here as well, just in case you can get that that good release here. And let's take a look at that. It does come with their standard P320 21 round mags, nothing special or fancy, but it is a perfect spot if you have semi-large hands. I don't think I need to come off grip. Yeah, you got to kind of come off grip just a little bit back here, but not like a full twist of the gun like some of them. If I wanted to, I could do it one hand there, but I feel myself trying to really extend there. So maybe just come off the back and I can just a little bit more comfortable. But it's a little stiff, but of course with use, that's going to work just fine. And you see I'm not having any problems because these also come with the mag well. It looks like it is a metal, maybe aluminum or steel mag well. So that's really nice. And then you have your little set screw down here if you wanted to go without the mag well. It looks kind of standard like that macro one on the tac ops, but I'm pretty sure it's a larger one. But same style, same cut, same profile look. So I really do appreciate the 3 mags, but always appreciate that texture on that mag release. All right, let's talk about our trigger. And it looks like your mag release is ambidextrous, so it looks like you can move because you have your slide catcher release on the other side as well. That's usually an indication of that. I like that they put the flat screws in this versus the little torque screws. I don't know how many torque screws I've stripped and all kinds of crap, dealing with grips and Lok Grips and Taylor freelance grips, and just those little torque screws always just fucking get stripped to crap, and I'm always having a hard time getting those back off and having to order new screws and stuff. But let's look at the trigger. When I picked it up at the gun store, I tried it out. Number one, I'm a big fan of flat triggers. This is a nice wide flat trigger. I really like the profile of it. I believe this is probably aluminum also. It's not plastic or polymer. I don't think so. I have to research that. But I do wish it was a slightly better trigger, or at least adjustable, which I believe it is not. But let's go ahead and take a look at that. We're going to show that we're clear. So SIG, when they come with these flat triggers, I know this is a new flat trigger of theirs, it's not the standard macro. They're always leaning super forward. So this is probably something I'll probably adjust or change out altogether if it bothers me. But they're always pretty far out forward. So there's always some pre-travel there. This one looks like it's kind of short, but you see it's still at an angle, like a 45-degree angle. So I'm expecting some mush on here. Not necessarily a clean break at 90 degrees, because that still has a ways to get to 90 degrees. So there I'm applying pressure, and then it kind of just pops back in a little bit lower, a little bit, and then there's a clean break and you're at 90 degrees right there. So I'm not a big fan of that pressure you have to put here before it goes off, but it's not horrible. And let's take a look at the reset after this pull. So there's a lot of pressure, and our reset's probably going to come back all the way forward. Oh, really light. But you see it's almost back to that huge angle there, and then you get a good break there. Let's take a look at that reset one more time, and then we'll get the gauge on it. So see, it's a little further than I like, and it's still going, and there it goes, just click. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trigger on the gauge. So we got the gauge out. Let's take a look. Three 9.9. 3.0.1. Sometimes you go a little too fast. 5.2. So we're looking at a sub 4-pound trigger for this full size all steel pistol. .07. That's our first 4-pound pull, and it's actually kind of rolled down, so I think that kind of affected it. So let's take one more. That one also slipped. That's gonna be good. I need to get me a different gauge. If you guys have a better preference on what works best, I really don't like this trigger gauge. Give me some input on what I should get instead of this one. But 5.7. So it's like a 3.5-pound trigger. It feels a little stiffer than that, but I guess I can see it. But it does feel heavier than a 3.5, and it's got that mush on there. All right, so before we head off to the range, remember it comes with 3 21 rounders. They're just standard P320 mags. So I'm not sure what's going to be. I'll have to do some research to see what's compatible with this for competition. But 321 rounders out of the gate. It's not too bad for small local matches, just to kind of get to see how this gun feels. I like that it comes with extra recoil springs, so you're not having to purchase any to get this tuned to perfection to your ammo if you're running lighter loads or competition loads. But man, I just cannot wait. Really easy to pick up. I cannot wait to get this out to the range. Hopefully it meets my expectations and I don't have it on a super high pedestal. So we'll take it to the range and then we'll come back and see what it does. All right guys, super excited to do this test. We got the P320 X5 SXG. This is our first mag out the box. Never shot it, so I'm super excited. So he's got some issues here with the slide rack. That it's a 12-pound recoil spring in there. So I'm wondering if we need to go heavier. We'll find out. If you shoot competition, you know we have issues with those slides returning the battery when they're a little too light. But here we go. First mag out the box, 21 feet. Oh, super soft. Didn't return the battery. So it could be this recoil spring is just too light. I'm shooting standard 115 ammo. So I may have to change the spring out. But man, it is super light. Again, not return the battery. So I don't like that they kind of put that lighter spring in there straight from install. Let's keep on going with the test. It's like I'm not returning the battery. That spring is just way too light. And I did not bring the 14 or 16 pound with me. But man, this sucker is super light, so I'm gonna have an issue doing doubles today. Return. Let's return now. Return. Not return. It's just like I gotta put that slide back in the back every time. I know it's the spring because I'm shooting 115. I don't have any problem returning. Man, it feels super good though. It's a good slide lock. So having some problem returning, maybe it needs to break in, but it has the light spring in there. All right, now we're gonna start our 4-round accuracy test. Bullseye. Good slide lock there. Good slide lock every time. The slide is returning the battery on its own now, so it may just need that break period. But again, it has a 12-pound spring, so I know that's going to be a little issue. It may still go with 14. All right, now we're at 30 feet. This is usually when I start to go a little wild, but this pistol is shooting super soft and accurate for the most part. So let's check it out. I think I dipped that one myself. We'll see where they end up. And let's go for that 1-inch box now at 21 feet. Bullseye. Let's go to the other side now. Man, super soft shooter. Might have to compare this to that T-Sauce double stack that shot super soft. All right, let's take a look at our results. All right, so here we go. Stop this other camera. All right, so first mag out the box. 21 rounds, shooting a little left, but you can see still all within a fist-sized group. Point of aim, of course, is a bullseye. So, man, super nice right here. This is our grouping at 15 feet as it should be. 4-round groups. You can see there's probably about an inch, maybe an inch max group here. These two long ones, super tight group, as it should be at 15 feet. Pushed it to 21 feet here. All 3 of them hitting the bullseye ring, one just almost inside. So what, about a 1.5 inch 1.25 inch. I would say probably 1.5. Very, very nice. And then pushing it out to 30 feet. I got 2 here. It's like a double hole, or maybe this one's the double hole. And then I dipped one low. I felt it, but still not too bad. Maybe what is this? 1, 2, a little bit slightly less than 3 inches. So I'll take that at 30 feet. Then we brought it back in at 21 feet, aiming for this 1 inch box. I'm super satisfied with this 1.25 inch. Looks like a group of 2 of them in the box. And then I went to the right, and this is probably saying 1.25 there. Super soft shooter. I'm amazed at how flat and how soft it shoots. I was having some issues returning the battery in the beginning. It does have that light 12-pound recoil spring in there, so I may change it to the 14 just in case. But as I was shooting more, it was returning on its own. All right, guys, back from the range. You guys saw the footage. Get this empty mag out. We are clear, as you can see. You guys saw the results. You can see the muzzle flip. I zoomed in for you guys. Man, this is one of the softest, flattest pistols that I've shot straight out of the box. I would compare this to my Canik Rival S, and my Canik Rival S was already kind of souped up as it was. It had the tungsten guide rod. It had the lighter trigger spring. It had the wolf spring, I think 12 or 13 pound recoil spring in there, with the upgraded. Man, I got the tactical cat trying to jump in, and then some other upgrades on it. And that Canik was shooting super smooth until it started giving me a ton of failure to extract problems, and I tried to fix it. I did so many things to it. It didn't work without everything that everybody was telling me to do to it, and so I just kind of gave up on it. But this sucker is out of the box shoots just as soft and as flat as that pistol. I couldn't even, my expectations were super high, and this thing met them. It was exactly what I was hoping for it to be, was competition, flat, little to no recoil, low muzzle rise, and it checked all those boxes. The weight, even though it's almost 50 ounces, like I said earlier, it's just got a really good balance the way they built this gun. Like, it just doesn't feel that heavy. I mean, it feels heavy, but it doesn't feel like 50 ounces. My Q5 steel frame felt heavier than this. So if some of you guys have the Q5 steel frame, that one to me definitely felt more heavier than this one. The G10 Lok Grips here really bites down on your skin. That sucker is not moving anywhere. When I was shooting it today or a little while ago, man, like, the only cons is you guys saw it in the beginning. I was in my first mag, I was having problems with the slide returning the battery. And that's usually, if you're familiar with lighter recoil springs or competition shooting and you're trying to tune it, when you have those light springs, it makes your slide easy to rack, right? But you also get that little play back here where it doesn't quite return back sometimes. And it kind of has like a little, like it pops in like a little displacement back here. So the middle of the first mag, I was having to just push that back in every single time. But after 10, 12 rounds or something like that, the rest of that mag was flawless. I think I put 100 to 150 rounds through it, and I think maybe I had 2 more slide failure to return back to battery, maybe 2 tops that I could remember of. And then it shot almost everything except for that freaking Federal Syntec, that flat nose. I've had so many problems with that Federal Syntec flat nose ammo in a lot of my guns. It gave me an issue or 2 in this one, so I stopped completely. So I don't know, I may have to just use that, blow some holes somewhere with it, because in every gun I've had, it's given me issues. But I put 147 manufacturers from a local company, Triple J's. This thing shot like a freaking toy with that. I wish I had my outdoor dynamics with me at the time. I'm definitely going to have to do an update on that, how it shoots the outdoor dynamics. Shot 115 SMB, 115 MagTech. I mean, it ate everything. I even did some standard 147 flat nose, and those were okay too. Just not that Federal Syntec for some reason. Those coated bullets. I don't know what's wrong with those. But man, everything I asked for, it's exactly what they say it is. I cannot wait to get the optics so I can get a better clear sight picture with that dot on there and shoot a little bit faster. 2 thumbs up from Fat Tactical, man. You guys comment below, give me some questions, some feedback. You want to know anything? let me know. And as always, reach out to me on Instagram, fat_tactical. I can do a lot more communicating on there. But after I have that staccato match in 2 weeks, I'm going to shoot my CZ P10F since I'm super comfortable with it. But I'm pretty sure after that, I'm going to be switching full time to this X5 SXG for sure. I don't even think I'm going to change anything on here other than adding a dot and then, you know, getting some mag extensions. But anything on here, I think I'm leaving it as is. But again, appreciate you guys. Let me know if you got any questions or anything. To the next one.